So on this advice segment, I have Michael Rasko. He is our Google Grants expert. I mean, this is pretty much all that he does. And for this particular segment, we want to know exactly, what are Google Grants, kind of the basics, and then also who can utilize Google Grants, since those two things really kind of come together. So first off, thanks for doing this segment. And then Michael, jump right into it.
All right. So Google Grants are Google's version of AdWords for nonprofits. So AdWords is their main advertising platform. It's 3/4 of their revenue, and they have a special program for nonprofits to be able to use that platform at no cost. And the amount that it typically would cost for clicks to the advertisement are documented as an in-kind donation from Google to the nonprofit. And there's some additional policies about staying compliant. There's additional compliance rules. There's also fewer features. You can only use search engine advertisements. You can't use the display advertisements. And the nonprofits that are eligible, eligibility depends on the country. So you can look at Google's resource for the full list, but for the United States, it's 501c3s that are not schools or hospitals. And even, yeah, and just briefly, I'll add that even if you do medical stuff, even if you do educational stuff, there's a bit of leeway. So if you're unsure, I encourage you to make an attempt.
Yeah, so essentially what they are Google AdWords, or their pay-per-click based advertisements. This is how I view it, and everything in a nutshell. They have this inventory that's being unutilized. They can give it to free to qualifying nonprofits, and then they get like a nice big tax write-off from those in-kind donations, right? That's like the benefit to Google, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They document it as an in-kind donation, and oftentimes they're for searches that otherwise may not show an advertisement. And if it would have just been their organic listings anyway, from their perspective, they're like, we'll give this benefit to nonprofit and also have this in-kind donation documented on our tax forms.
Yeah, and the nonprofits that can utilize it, they have some parameters of who those are, but there's also some gray area that you and I know we've talked a lot about, we've had experience with, where it's like, well, technically no, but then there's this also kind of loophole sometimes, or gray area, where sometimes nonprofits that are kind of like on the fence of, do they qualify, do they not? But the nice thing is it's free money. It's $10,000, up to $10,000 a month of free money that you can utilize for the advertising. So you maximize it's $120K a year, which is pretty cool. So thanks for kind of explaining what that is, and like why Google's doing it and who can kind of utilize it. We're gonna have a couple more advice segments with you as well to dive in even deeper.
Yeah, and I can't believe I forgot to mention the dollar amount, because that's one of the things that's most shocking about it. And it takes work to utilize that dollar amount because of a lot of the compliance concerns, but just the sheer amount is kind of mind-boggling, the type of benefit you can get regardless of your nonprofit size. So it could be double your revenue if you're a very small nonprofit. All of them are entitled to that $10,000 a month.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't mean that they're going to get it though. You and I know that, but it does mean that they have that cap. And then if you can kind of really figure out that system, you can use a lot of those dollars. So I know there's a lot of nonprofits that we talk with. They're like, yeah, I'm only using like 100 or something like that. There are ways to use thousands of dollars worth of free advertisement, which is pretty awesome.